Welcome to another episode of Opinionated Diva Presents Plenty of Tiff. I'm your girl Tiffany, aka Opinionated Diva. It is episode 14, and honey, the audacity levels in the atmosphere are at an all-time high this week. So let's get started. For our Diva Drop this week, we have to talk about something that hits close to home for every sister with a passport. We're looking into the heartbreaking situation with influencer Ashlee Jenae in Zanzibar. We're talking safety, we're talking advocacy, and we're talking about why our lives deserve a real investigation no matter where in the world we are. We've been watching Ashlee Jenae live that soft life that we all aspire to, traveling, glowing, and just being very vibrant. She went to Zanzibar to celebrate her 31st birthday and a brand new engagement to her fiance, Joe McCann. But on April 12th, the dream became a nightmare. Ashlee was found unresponsive in her luxury villa and later pronounced dead. One minute she's posting, "I'm exactly where I need to be," and the next her family is left fighting for the truth. Now, this is where the red flag starts flying, okay? Local authorities in Tanzania are leaning toward a suicide narrative, claiming she died by hanging, but Ash's family and friends are pushing back very hard. They're saying the timeline is fractured, the story from the fiancé isn't adding up, and that Ashlee was in a state of pure joy. We see this pattern too often. When something happens to us abroad, the local authorities are quick to close the books so they don't hurt their tourism numbers. They want to call it an accident or self-harm to avoid the foul play headlines. But we know better. We know our sisters don't just go missing or give up in the middle of their highest moments like an engagement and a birthday. I don't want to make this a race issue, but let's be real. It's a reality issue. We are leading the charge in solo travel and destination living right now. The Black Girl Magic passport is stamped and busy. But while we're out here exploring the world doesn't always have our back. In the US, our sisters go missing and it barely makes the local scroll. When it happens across an ocean, the silence is deafening. We have to be our own advocates. We have to demand that if a Black woman goes into a villa, she comes out of that villa. If she doesn't, we need an investigation that treats her life like it's worth more than the paper of the report it's written on. So while I pray for Ashlee's family and wait for the toxicology and autopsy results, which I'll be watching for, I need everybody to stay vigilant. Keep your circle updated. Use those share my location features on your phone. Trust your gut. If the vibe shifts in the room, a villa or a relationship, honey, get out. Register with STEP. If you're a U.S. citizen, the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program lets the embassy know where you are. We're not going to stop traveling, and we're not going to stop living. Our soft life is here to stay, but we are going to do it with our eyes wide open. To Ashlee's family, prayers for you all, and keep making noise until you're able to get Ashlee's body back to a final resting place and answers to the questions we know you all deserve. Now it's time for my favorite part of the show, Shine, Shade, or Side Eye. This is where I break down the foolishness of it all and decide if it deserves a round of applause, a little bit of petty, or if we just need to look at it sideways, honey, okay? And today, the NFL is giving us a main course of mess. We're talking about New England Patriots coach Mike Vrabel and the athletic reporter Diana Rossini. Now, if you haven't seen the picture from page 6, let me paint the portrait for you. We are in Sedona, Arizona, in an adults-only resort. There's a private rooftop, there is hand-holding, there is finger interlocking, there is dancing. It is giving main character energy in a romance novel. But then the statements came out. And this is where we get into the thick of it. Vrabel says it was completely innocent. Diana says, and I quote, "The photos don't represent the group of 6 people we were with." Now, wait a minute. A group of 6? I've been on group trips. I've been the third wheel, I've been the fifth wheel, and I've been a spare tire, okay? And not one of those scenarios was I interlocking fingers with a friend while the other 4 people were apparently playing hide and seek in the bushes somewhere. To tell the public that what we see with our own 2 eyeballs is actually just a platonic group outing is the ultimate gaslight, okay? They were doubling down on this nothing to see here narrative like we don't have 4K resolution in our phones. So let's get to my judgment of it all. Absolutely not any shine. There is no glow here, just a whole lot of explaining to do back home and at the office. Is it shade? No. I could throw some shade at the group of 6 that somehow missed the private rooftop dance lesson. I could throw shade at the fact that Diana has been in these friendly source rumors before. Oh, yes. In 2015, when Diana was at ESPN, the Washington Commanders, then the Redskins, general manager's wife, set her Twitter fingers ablaze, making accusations and publicly accusing Diana of having an affair with her husband to get scoops. She basically called her a side chick, insinuating she did sexual favors to get her information. ESPN and colleagues defended Diana then because, well, making sexist accusations on a female reporter's professional success is no bueno. But then you, Diana, show up in Sedona doing the lover stroll with a coach. Honey, you're making it real hard for us to keep that believe in women energy in this scenario. You're giving the haters exactly what they wanted. So this gets a triple side eye from me. I am looking at this so sideways my neck hurts. We are side eyeing the professional boundaries or lack thereof. If you're a reporter covering the league and you're interlocking fingers with a coach at a luxury resort, the conflict of interest is screaming. But mostly we are side eyeing the insult on our intelligence. Don't tell me it's raining when you're standing there with the water hose, okay? If you're going to be out, be out. But don't try to feed us a group trip fairy tale when the camera caught a duet. The lesson here, if you're going to double down, make sure the hands you're holding isn't in the picture because the internet is undefeated and the side eye is forever. But the drama doesn't end there. Of course, why not? Why would it? Diana officially packed her bags and resigned from The Athletic. Now, she didn't go quietly. She sent a letter saying she's covered the NFL with professionalism and dedication, and she's stepping aside because she doesn't want to feed the media frenzy. But let's read between the lines here. The Athletic was actually in the middle of an internal investigation into her conduct and her relationship with Vrabel. They initially had her back also, but then they saw those photos of them in that hot tub, honey, and suddenly the lives changed at the Athletic. She quit before they could fire her, right? I mean, that's what it seems like. But this leads to a good old boys club conversation. Diana's career is essentially on ice right now. She's the one resigning. She's the one getting the scathing takedowns from other female reporters. And she's the one whose integrity is being shredded. But what about Coach Mike Vrabel? He is still the coach of the year, literally. He's still at a facility making draft picks. He gave a statement calling the whole thing laughable and basically told the media to kick rocks. So why is the woman losing her livelihood while the man just gets to call it a distraction and move on? They are both married. They were both in that hot tub and they both lied about that group of six that did not exist. It's the same old story. And the NFL coaches preach integrity in the locker room, but get a pass for their off the field mess. But for a woman in sports media, one side eye moment and your seat at the table is gone. I'm not saying she's right. The ethics line was, honey, definitely crossed. But I am saying the math ain't mathing when only one person pays the price. Diana is out, Vrabel is in, and the group trip lie is officially the biggest fumble of the season. So what do y'all think? Did she have to resign to save face, or is she being scapegoated while the coach gets a pass? If you ask me, I'm going to go with both. Now we have to talk about the viral moment that has literally taken over my timeline. Ice Spice was just trying to enjoy her 2 a.m. McNuggets, honey, at a Hollywood McDonald's when things went absolutely left. First, let's start with a massive side eye to this young lady, Vaya, not really sure how you pronounce it. Either way, she took to the internet via TMZ, of course, to give her version of events, claiming she was just a fan trying to show love to Ice Spice and that Ice Spice was rude and called her a name. Miss Ma'ams, we literally have the security footage. We saw you walk up to their private booth, try to force your way into the seat like you were part of the friend group. And when you were told no, you swung. To go on social media and try to play the victim when the tape shows you were being the aggressor, that is a special kind of delusional. We are side-eyeing the clout chasing, the lying, and the audacity to think you can just sit at a stranger's table because they're famous. But on the flip side, I have to give a shine to Ice Spice for having that don't play with me energy, honey, while she was eating. Often people think because a celebrity has a soft brand or a quiet voice, they can just walk over them. Ice Spice stood her ground. When that girl slapped her, she didn't just sit there. She was over those McDonald's tables like a track star. Okay? She defended her space and her peace. And honestly, the way she spiked that phone into the street, Shine to Ice for reminding the world that the Bronx is always in her, no matter how many Grammys she get nominated for, okay? However, I have to keep it real. I'm going to give a heavy dose of shade on your decision, Spice, to take it to the streets. You are a global superstar, honey, SpongeBob status. You have high power attorneys on speed dial, I'm sure. Once this girl was dragged out of the restaurant, that was for the LAPD to have their moment and your security handle the rest. But instead, we see the world star footage of the fight spilling into the Hollywood pavement, the phone smashing and the scuffle continuing into the street. It was just giving Jeheta. When you're at the level of fame you're at, you can't just be out there fighting in the streets like you're back on East Tremont. I love that you was ready to throw them hands and put the paws on homegirl, who literally looks like she's not even 18 years old yet. But I do know black on crack, so for all I know, honey, she could be 32. I digress. I'd rather see you throw a lawsuit and keep your hair laid. The Bronx baddie energy is great for the lyrics, but in real life, I'm gonna need you to be not in street brawls, okay? Now that we already dragged Vaya or Vaya and gave her that whatever and gave Ice her shine, I need to pull somebody else into this. I want to put somebody else into this. Who was that friend that was sitting with Ice Spice? I watched the footage 5 times and counting, and I'm still looking for the part where this girl jumps in. Ice Spice is literally jumping over tables like an Olympic hurdler to defend herself, and her friend is just sitting there like, I don't want to be part of this. You see your girl get slapped in the face. You see her chasing the whole aggressor out into the Hollywood streets, and you're just like sitting there observing, pondering sauce options. I don't know. What was the deal. If we are at a 2 a.m. place and a stranger tries to slide into where we're sitting and swing on me, you better be mid-air, girl, before I even throw my first punch. So this friend was giving very much bystander. If I'm Ice Spice, we are having a very long, quiet ride home. Because if you can sit through a McDonald's melee and not get one hair out of place while I'm out here spiking phones on the street and the pavement and doing world star videos, you want my security or my sister. So shade to the friend. I'm sorry, girl. Spice, next time bring a real one with you who can jump when you jump. My verdict is we side eye the liar. We shine for the self-defense, but we shade the lack of security and that street fight. To anyone listening, if you see your favorite celebrity in public, say hi from a distance. Don't try to join the table. Don't try to touch them. And definitely don't try to think you can fight with them. Okay? You're going to end up with a broken phone and police report. I don't know. You all tell me what you think. Did Ice Spice do too much? Or did she do exactly what needed to be done for a girl from the BX? And finally, we have to talk about the latest attempt at colonizing our scalps, honey. Today's Read the Room goes to Vogue magazine. It all started with the photo. They used a gorgeous photo of our favorite Tracy Ellis Ross. She was glowing, she was radiant, and she was rocking a perfectly picked out, gravity defying afro. But then you read the caption. Vogue didn't call it an afro, which is exactly what it was. Of course not, because why would they? They didn't even call it natural hair. They called it a cloud bob. What in the weather app hell is a cloud bob? I sat there for a minute trying to really figure out if I missed a memo or if the English language had just decided to retire the word Afro without telling me. It is 2026, and we are still out here trying to give Black beauty a palatable nickname so it doesn't scare the suburban masses. Let's get into why this is so insulting. They described it as a new, airy trend for the summer. Honey, the Afro is not a trend. The Afro is a movement. The Afro is political. The Afro is historical. When you rename it a cloud bomb, you're basically stripping away the soul of the style. You're trying to make it sound like something whimsical you'd find on like a Pinterest board next to maybe a matcha latte, right? You Christopher Columbusing our hair, pretending you discovered something that's been growing out of our heads since the beginning of time. And they even tried to credit a celebrity stylist for defining the look. Imagine the audacity to define a hairstyle that our ancestors have literally been wearing while they were fighting for our right to even exist. You can't just take the aesthetic, remove the history, and slap a fresh for 2026 sticker on it. We see this all the time. They did it with boxer braids when they were cornrows. They did it with sticky bangs when they were laid edges. And now the Afro is a cloud bob. Why is the word Afro so scary for y'all? Is it too radical? Does it remind you too much of the 60s and 70s? By calling it a cloud bob, you're basically trying to gentrify the silhouette. You want the volume, you want the cool factor, but you don't want the blackness that comes with it. You want the cloud without the thunder of history, pun intended. And using Tracy Ellis Ross for this was bold and stupid. She has built an entire hair brand around the authenticity of her curls and coils. To use her image to push a rebrand that erases the very thing she stands for is disrespectful to her. It's disrespectful to every woman who has ever been told their hair was unprofessional until a magazine like Vogue gave it a cute name. Now, that's the funniest part. As soon as Black Internet started lighting up Vogue on TikTok and X, they quietly edited the article. No apology. No, we messed up. Just a silent digital cleanup, hoping we wouldn't notice. But guess what? We did. We always notice because you can't rename the concrete we built the house on. You can call it a cloud bob, a puff pom pom, honey. You can even call it a cotton candy cut. But at the end of the day, it is an afro. It defies gravity, it commands respect, and it doesn't need a nickname to be high fashion. Now, I know some of y'all are out here saying, Tiffany Cloudbob, look, girl, it's just a name. But we have to look at this as a pattern. This is a cycle. Again, I told you, box of braids in 2016. The media tried to tell us that the Kardashians invented a new way to braid hair. They took our cornrows, the same braids our mamas was doing our hair on the porch while sitting in between their legs, and renamed it after a UFC fight. They wanted the look, but they wanted to strip the culture just to make it safe for the runway, right? Then, again, a few years ago, we had sticky bangs. I know y'all don't know what that meant. I know you didn't. There was a girl on TikTok gelling her hairline down in little swirlies and calling them sticky bangs. Ma'am, those are called edges. You were trying to hack a style that Josephine Baker literally pioneered 100 years ago. They take our baby hair and our afros, shout out to Beyonce, and try to turn them into a DIY project for people who don't even know how to use a toothbrush to lay a swoop. And that brings us to 2026 and the cloud bob. You see what's at play here? Cornrows became boxer braids. Laid edges became sticky bangs. That afro is now the cloud bob. They are literally trying to colonize our aesthetics one nickname at a time. It's a way to take the Black out of beauty so they can sell products to everyone else. But we're not letting that slip by this time. Fuck that cloud bob. We know our history, we know our names, and we are not going to let Vogue or any TikTok influencer gaslight us into thinking our heritage is just a new summer trend. Keep the cloud, and we're going to keep the afro. Period, point blank, poo. So, to the editors at Vogue, take a seat, take a history class, and most importantly, take our hair's name out of your trend reports unless you're ready to respect the roots. Wait though, before we get out of here, I have to give an honorable read the room mention to the United States government and the GOP, because apparently we have solved inflation, we fixed the housing crisis, and we ended all wars. They must have, right? Because that is the only explanation that I can think of would make them think they have enough time to be beefing with a puppet. Yes, you heard me right. El Mohani is in the hot seat. Why? Because Sesame Street posted a tweet celebrating Arab American Heritage Month. They just wanted to show some love to the community, but certain conservatives and folks in the GOP took it as a personal attack. They called it propaganda and indoctrination. Even the White House press room had to field questions about a Muppet's social media strategy. Be for real. Are y'all serious right now? You are grown adults getting your blood pressure worked up over a 3-year-old cutie patootie Muppet who don't even wear no pants. The level of clownery it takes to look at a message of inclusion during a month that has been officially recognized for years and try to turn it into a cultural war is exhausting at best. It is Arab American Heritage Month. There are millions of Arab Americans living, working, and paying taxes in this country, and Elmo saying, hey, you're special too, should not trigger a legislative meltdown. So, to the GOP and the White House staffers who spent their billable hours drafting statements about Sesame Street, read the room. We are worried about the price of gas and our safety abroad, and y'all are worried about whether or not Elmo is too woke because he likes hummus. It's giving distraction. It's giving I have no real policies, so let me fight Sesame Street. Put the Twitter fingers away, get back to work, and leave the residents of Sunnydale alone, okay? Elmo is a toddler. What is your excuse for acting like one? And folks, there you have it. This episode is officially a wrap, but the conversation doesn't have to stop there. You can catch me over on Instagram or Spill at Opinionated Diva, on TikTok at The Opinionated Diva, and make sure you head over to my YouTube to hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss a drop, and share this with somebody who needs to hear the truth today. I appreciate you all as always, and until next time, peace.